Howdy, friend. Sam Houston here, hoping you're living in high cotton. And if you're lucky enough to be in Texas, I know you're most of the way there. Now enjoy your daily dose of Texas history and Texas pride.
Howdy, friend. Welcome back to the Feed Bandit podcast and your Texas History Roundup for October 28th. In 1819, Mexican forces under Colonel Ignacio Perez reached Nacogdoches and drove the members of the James Long expedition and recent American settlers out of East Texas. Bar, humbug. In 1835, the Battle of Concepcion, the opening engagement of the Siege of Bexar or San Antonio, took place. In a skirmish between forces led by Jim Bowie and James Fannin, Mexican troops were forced to retreat after losing 14 killed to only 1 on the Texian side. Stephen F. Austin and others arrived later, and Austin urged an immediate attack on San Antonio, but his officers declared that it was too well fortified. In 1876, Austin Graded School, which was located at 11th and Rio Grande Streets, was dedicated. Having opened with 200 students on October 2nd, it was the first school in Texas built entirely with public funds. It burned in 1897, but it was rebuilt on the same site, and in 1902 was renamed Peace School in honor of former Governor Elisha M. Peace. In 1926, Yates Oil Field in southeast Pecos County was discovered when the Yates 1A well came in at 450 barrels per day from a depth of 992 feet. In September 1929, the 30th well set a world record with a short-term production of 8,528 barrels of oil per hour. Field production peaked in 1929 when over 41 million barrels of oil were produced, but remoteness was a major problem. By 1941, the Yates production had dropped significantly, so the Railroad Commission imposed stricter production rules, which improved the annual production to about 13 million. The Yates was a cavern reservoir of 35 square miles. The cumulative production of almost 1.2 billion barrels over the first 63 years made it one of the most prolific oil fields in the world. And finally, in 1967, the squabble over the Ponce de Leon land grant was settled when 7.82 acres of the original grant were awarded to Mexico, a ruling that finally settled a century-old dispute. In 1827, Juan Ponce de Leon had obtained a 215-acre land grant that was part of the city of El Paso del Norte and had the Rio Grande as its southern boundary. De Leon was later granted the alluvial accretion between the Old and New rivers, an area created by a change in the river due to flooding. After the grant passed to others and parts were sold, litigation began in about 1860 over whether the alluvial area was part of the grant. More than a century later, the 1967 ruling settled the matter. And that, my friend, was your Texas History Roundup for October 28th. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll catch you back here tomorrow. All right, you take care.
Well, there you have it. If you like our podcast, check us out at feedbandit.com. There you'll find awesome Texas First outdoors gear and apparel. Your purchase helps support the Bandits and keeps this podcast on the air, fighting for you and for Texas. Remember, preserve the tradition, protect the legacy. Until next time.